Welcome to the Accelerate Campfire. I'm Lyndon Bowen, and today I'm joined by an amazing entrepreneur. I truly hope you enjoy hearing their experiences and life path. Listen in.
I'm here talking with Quiana Q Broden, and she is the founder and executive chef of The Kitchen by Cooking with Q, Detroit's only demonstration kitchen and culinary shared space. And even as a young child, Q knew she had a passion for cooking. And after being diagnosed with a severe autoimmune disease, she began exploring a plant-based lifestyle to help heal. After discovering the many ways we can cure ourselves through food, Q knew she needed to share this with the world, and Cooking with Q was born. Her spirit and strength are one of a kind, and we are so honored to have her as part of the collective and here with us today at the weekly Campfire. Everybody, please give a warm welcome to Q in the chat. Yay! Woohoo! So, now they're up again, saying hello. Fantastic. So, we have the first question. We're going to get rolling. And the winning question was, who were some of your early influences, Q?
So if I were to be perfectly honest, people know I'm a super God-fearing person. So if I were to be perfectly honest, call her mama, my grandma, my mama was probably my first person to make me just want to figure out what I could do different, because she got diagnosed with she had lung cancer. Now, mind you, she had smoked. I feel like she smoked forever, and then she stopped smoking. She had no issues until she's probably like 70. Right.
Wow.
And my biggest thing for her was I wanted to feed her things that would make her feel better. And once you deal with elders, they're like, child, I've been living here for 70 something years. I do not care about what you're talking about. I have lived a good life, and I'm going to eat what I want. And I was probably more upset with myself because I didn't feed her the food that I should have forced her to eat the food, but you can't really force adults to do stuff. So my first person, my inspiration, because it was like, well, I know you have cancer, you have to take this chemo. What kind of foods can we get you to eat? I was getting sour sop shipped from countries so I could give her this, and I would go through all the getting it here, and she wouldn't. So she kind of inspired me to want to figure out the whole eating thing in the beginning, because it was about her first. And then once I recognized I had this weird autoimmune disease, and I changed how I ate, I knew I could help her. But, people have to be willing and open to wanting to do the changes for themselves. So she just inspired me to push further, because when she first got diagnosed, they told her she probably wouldn't make it for a year or two. And she made it. When I say years, listening to me, trying to get her to do things. And it made me see that you don't have to take the fake that somebody gives you. So just because somebody tells you this is all you got left, you don't have to believe that, because they are not they're not the end all be all. They're not, the beginning and the end. So if I'll be perfectly honest, my mom, my grandma was probably my first inspiration. And now to this day, I still in my head fight the same fight. It's like, I want people to learn how to eat to live. And that's the mission. I'm not trying to force people to be vegan. I just eat to live, because what you put in is what you get out. What you give your body is what. That's kind of how it goes.
Right. And I think it's so interesting.
Isn't that crazy?
It's so crazy. And I think that, obviously we are so silly in so many ways, but it's like you can just show them time and time again the benefits of making that simple change, and they will just fight so hard on it, or it's not what you know.
So crazy.
And I think that your story is so mind blowing too, because you were sick yourself, and that as soon as you changed your diet, things started to get better. Like you said, you had a cough that people, when you entered a room, they'd be like, "Oh, Q's here," and you were known for a cough. So I was
literally that's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. So tell me, were you yourself, because you said that when you were sick and you were diagnosed and you started Googling, and that all it came back was plant-based food, and you yourself were like, "No, I don't think so." So tell me about kind of exploring that first, because that was really sort of the origin for Cooking with Q.
No, literally it was. And I tell people all the time, you usually take what happens to you, it becomes something that you take it as, oh, poor me. You turn it into pity, or you turn it into a positive. And for me, I try to find the positive in everything. But my initial, you find out you have a disease called sarcoidosis. Most people don't even know what it is. once you Google around, you find out Bernie Mac died from his sarcoidosis. So you
No,
have the
I
ability to
didn't know
either
that.
fix it. That is what Bernie Mac died from, sarcoidosis.
And
So
he was
you
a
either
young
take
man
care.
too. He
Yeah,
was young. Yeah.
but like
Okay.
you choose to take care of it, or it takes care of you.
Mhm.
So my brain was like, they wanted to. So you got to think, when I find this out, I'm like 29, rolling over on 30, right? I have
Mhm.
sarcoidosis. It's supposed to be common in Black women. None of us know. I could have sworn I was Black. I had never heard
Mhm.
of it.
Mm.
And then the only thing that they offer you is steroids. And my first brain was like, y'all don't want athletes to take steroids. And for me, when I found out I had it, I found out I had like stage 4 sarcoidosis. So you're
Wow.
supposed to take like steroids 3 times a day, blah,
Oh
blah,
my
blah. And all I
goodness.
could think was like, dude, what about my kidneys? What about like all
Right.
of my insides are going to start being pissed off because of this pill you want me to pop, but nobody's
Mhm.
telling me what the holistic approach is like. And
Right.
you know, like I did it myself. It was like I tell people all the time I graduated from Google University, and I'm
Yeah.
proud. You know what I'm saying? And after 30 days of like, oh, I'm gonna try this plant-based diet because my they're from South Carolina. They eat everything from the rooter to the tutor: hog maws, ham hocks, salt
Oh my
pork,
goodness.
getting shipped all the way from South Carolina to Detroit. The most horrible stuff, but that's the stuff that that's what everybody grew up on. 30 days, clock
Right.
started going away. 60 days, rashes started disappearing. So then my
Wow.
brain was just like, I need to probably tell folks because people don't
Right.
know. And if I didn't know, I know nobody else knows, especially in my
Right.
community. Like, we eat whatever we want. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So
Mhm.
that was the
Wow.
only reason. That was the only reason I started cooking with Q. I'm gonna start this.
Wow.
It was a Facebook whore. I love Facebook. Let's just be honest. When Facebook came out, I was like, yes, come on, Facebook.
Right.
But as
Right.
I'm posting on Facebook, people were like, so you used to be sick all the time and now you're not sick. So what did you do? You changed your food. So why don't you tell us? So I created that cookingwithq.com just so people would stop asking me questions. And it really just made people ask more questions.
Wow. That's amazing. I mean, I don't love that, but like I love that that's
No,
what
but
like
like it is.
yes.
It
Mhm.
had to happen. Like it had to happen. You fall forward. Like, okay, this sucks.
Sure.
Am I going to sit around and just be pitiful about having this disease, or am I going to find a way to change it?
Right. So then you started to just document your journey and it was the blog Cooking with Q.
Yeah,
How did it go from being a blog Q to being a business?
because I tell you all the time, I'm a super God theory, and I feel like when I start stuff, I can't have do it. So when I created this blog, I knew you were going to have to pay for a website, so it had to be a real business. So I'm
Mm.
like, fine, let me get a logo done. And initially, the logo looked like I don't even know. The logo was horrible. I had designed it in some weird app, and then I was like, you know what? Somebody else does this, so I'm gonna put the money where your mouth is. Like, if it's gonna be a
Mhm.
business, put it there. When I put the
Mhm.
blog out, the goal was I really wanted to just be able to show people my recipes and do a cookbook. But
Mhm.
then people were like, I had a mentor that was like, so you put this cookbook out and nobody knows who you are, so you can't just come out. You have to give people something. So you give, you give recipes, and people were like, you shouldn't give away recipes. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna give away the recipes.
Mm. Right.
What's the purpose of me dying with all this information? Like, that's
Right.
stupid. You need
I
to
have to
share.
share it.
So I
Mhm.
put the recipes on no, that was it. Like, I put the recipes out, and like literally within 2 days of me even sharing recipes, I started getting calls from like Veg Michigan. Yo, you got this vegan mac and cheese. Can you do this?
Wow.
Or yo, can you come to our company and teach our team members how they can eat better and they can eat to live? Did not knowing that corporations get discounts on their health insurance when people get brought in to teach their team members how to eat better. So it was
No
like,
way.
no, like legit. Like it was
Wow.
psycho. I didn't know about it, but like that
Right.
word gets out. One company tells another company, and I was working at UWM, and lo and behold, I was taking lunches, extended lunches, to go teach a class and come back to work. Go home, grab
Wow.
my kids, teach another class after work. It was very,
Wow.
it was all hustle. It
Wow.
was
I
all
love
hustle.
that. The collective one voted on the next question, which I think segues perfect into this. What was your greatest fear? Like, were you freaked out about that, or like, how was that going through that and experiencing that immense need and in all the with what you put out there?
So I'm gonna tell y'all the most horrifying thing for me was activating my website. Like
Oh, okay.
I'm being perfectly honest because I was like, once you put it there, it's there, and like people can, because people have no there's nobody safe once you're public.
True. Very true.
Like
That's a
when you're
valid
public,
fear.
you're in the public. No, that is because people have
Yes.
no shame. They're going to tell you how they feel. People are going to give you all of their unsolicited advice, and you just have to be okay with it. But I am a person who builds a boat as I go. I don't follow normal rule. My brain doesn't let me. I always tell people it's my brain because it's me and my brain all the time. I don't follow the normal protocol. I just do. I think one of my best friends pushed the button to start the website.
No
And
way.
she was like, I'm just gonna. Yeah, she was like, I started it, so it's it. I was like, oh my god.
We all need those best friends, right? The people to push us, right?
No, literally. And I'm like, oh my god, it's live. People can see my recipes, but it was like the best thing I've ever done. And the fear, I try not to live in fear because when things scare me, I run towards it. I tell you, I probably said this 100 times already that I am literally a God-fearing person. And the Bible says, fear nobody. You fear nobody but God. So I do not want to walk around fearing what people are going to say about me because people are always going to say, because that's what we have, these mouths. People are going to say, they're going to have something to say, they're going to have something to do. But the reality is when you are working in like doing what your purpose is, it's your purpose. If God gave me the idea, I can do what God told me to do, not people. People are going to always have something to say. And you have to just like grain of salt. I think I read this somewhere. You just keep people around you that are going to fan your flame. You don't want people that's going to tell you to dim your light. Because if I have to dim my light for somebody else to live, like we surely shouldn't be around each other. So
that's so true. That's amazing. An amazing ethos and can be really difficult to keep that in mind, though, especially I feel like in the world of entrepreneurship and being a small business owner, it is a very like almost naked feeling, right? Like you're putting yourself out there too, like you said, to be judged. Everyone's going to know me. What do I do? I don't know.
They're going to have something to say.
Yeah, but if you don't
I'm glad that you have to. I tell people right now, if I'm scared of something, I run towards it. Because if I run, surely if I'm afraid of it, something like amazing things happen in the most uncomfortable spaces. True. So I'm okay with being uncomfortable because something great is going to come out of it. And if I sit around and live my whole life based off of a fear, and most of the time when you fear stuff, it's something that somebody else put on you. So I don't receive everybody's fears. I don't receive everybody's fears.
I love that. That's fantastic advice too. So then if you could, I'm sure looking back in the things that you've done, maybe there were steps you took. You're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. And so the collective, the next question that they would like to know is, if you got one do-over, what would it be?
One do-over, what would it be?
Not don't use that first logo. You said that you didn't like.
Listen, because the first logo, but I had to learn, like, because I think a lot of times when people go into business, people like we're cheap. Let's just be honest. Like, we're trying to find a way to save some money. But I think everything that I have done, even the people that I may have done business with that I would choose to never do again, I don't think it would be you have to learn. It's falling forward. It's not a failure where I'm falling and I'm like done. It's fall forward because every single thing that I have gone through or went through, it served a purpose for my next step. So I don't want to tell you that there's something that I've never done before. I'll probably, if I had to verbally tell you something, I would say listening to other people because you can't. You start learning like unsolicited advice. People will always offer advice that you didn't ask for, right? Because the reality is that's what we do. We always have to place judgment. We always got an opinion, and people's opinions are exactly what they are. They're their own opinion. But for me, when you have a focus, and for me, like if I say, look, God got me here to teach people how to eat, to live, that is it. That purpose and that mission. And once you have that purpose, it teaches you how to say no to a lot of different things. And sometimes I think people get mad at me because I say no, but because I am so focused, I know that everything people offer me is not for my good. You could say, Q, I've had people, it's like when I wanted to open up the kitchen, I had people offering to pay me to open the kitchen in Auburn Hills, to open the kitchen in Rochester. And literally pay for it from the ground up. And I said no. And it was like, why are you saying no when you could save all this money? And the reality is I'm not here just for the money. Like, I'm here
Right.
for the purpose. And people say, Q, you gonna open it in Detroit? When I signed my lease for Midtown, it was 2017. There was nothing in
Oh,
Midtown.
no.
It was completely
Yeah.
dilapidated. There was no pretty. There was no all this different shopping. There was no people running around walking their dogs. It was the hood. And I said, I'm going to be here because this is where I'm supposed to be. I tell y'all all the time, I'm very faith-based. I'm like, this is where I'm supposed to be. This is where I'm going to go ahead and drop this pen. And that's it. Y'all can be blessed. And there were people who thought it was stupid. There were people who were like, you'd be better off opening up a dialysis center in Detroit than opening up a place for people to eat healthy, because your culture does not want to eat healthy. So imagine if I took the advice of all these other people and absorbed their fears. So no, it's not. I don't think there's anything I could have did wrong. I think whether things worked out or they didn't, I fail forward. I'm building the boat as I go. I don't know how to build a boat. I didn't go to school to build a boat, but like, I'm going to lay this piece of wood and I'm floating. Great. Where's the next one? Let's figure out where I should put that one. And that's kind of how I live.
I love that. I think that's such a beautiful thing too for you and for entrepreneurs too. Like, you see things other people don't see. You see opportunities that other people don't see. And of course, they might think you're crazy or don't understand because they don't see it. And like, it can, like you said, like, you can't run away from that fear. You have to lean into it, because that's when like the amazingness happens. And so I just think that, like, of course you weren't going to do it in Auburn Hills or Rochester. Of course you were going to do it in Midtown, where you saw it like before you. And I just think that's so amazing. And so that leads us to our next question from the collective. And they would like to know, what is the biggest change in you?
The biggest change in me right now, I think, is the biggest change in me is probably being okay with how things are going and learning how to celebrate like the victories, because I think we go so much. Me personally, I go. That's my button. Go. You know, and it's like I forget that I actually accomplish things in the midst of it. I was just having a conversation with myself the other night, and I was like, "Why do you think like don't miss the small things? Like, to get where you are right now, you was a lot of work that got made. And you can't feel bad because you're not somewhere else." And I tell people all the time, like, I am my biggest competition. I don't look at anybody else's none of that is my business. I'm focused on what my mission and that's kind of the thing. You like you know what your purpose is, you know what your mission is, you focus on that.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for coming today. You are an inspiration. You are an amazing member of this collective and the community of Metro Detroit. We are so excited for everything you're doing with the Kitchen by Cooking with Q, for the event that you're going to be at later this week with Scene Magazine. We'll also drop the link to that. Anybody that's listening and part of the collective that's local to Metro Detroit, you can go and listen to Q speak in person later this week at the Scene Magazine event. And thank you so much, Q. You are just fantastic. We appreciate you and having you, and just can't wait to see where you take it from here.
Amazing. Thank you so much for having me, Leslie. You guys are awesome.
Thank you, Q. Have a great day.
Later, Gator.
Thank you. Bye.
If you'd like to join the Accelerate Collective and attend future campfires, visit accelerateamerica.com/join and check out our future guest at accelerateamerica.com/campfire. Take care.